What is going on, YouTube? You know, I just finished the Child's Play reviews in the retrograde not too long ago. So now I'm going to be kicking off the Child's Play Chucky ranking videos with the first of 3. So now I'm bringing to you what is, in my opinion, my personal top 10 kills of the Chucky Child's Play franchise. Let's kick this shit off at number 10. Now I like this kill for a couple reasons. Number 1, it's a fun reintroduction killing for Chucky. I mean, we got hot-ass Jennifer Tilly doing a striptease to provoke the Chuck with jealousy. And number 2, this character here is annoying as fuck. And it's fun to see Chucky smother him with a pillow and his ass.
You never go ass to mouth.
Number 9. Now, this probably isn't on a lot of people's list of favorite kills in the franchise, but it's a kill that I've always personally loved. None of the early Child's Play films feature a gallery of kills that really stand out, especially Part 2, in my opinion. But for whatever reason, this particular one is one of the few exceptions, and I think it's just because a lot of the dark humor to it. I mean, this poor son of a bitch is just trying to do his job, probably making minimum wage at this Willy Wonka-looking sweatshop of a toy factory, only to have his eyes stabbed out and given a Judge Doom makeover.
Remember me, Eddie, when I killed your brother?
Number 8.
Your own personal mojo, Doc.
Give me that.
Sure, how do you want it? Broken leg?
I mean, who would have guessed all that voodoo shit that you taught Charles Lee Ray would come back to bite you in the ass? Basically, Chucky uses Voodoo Man's own power against him and starts twisting his body parts on the voodoo doll, which in turn snap and shatter this poor man's body. You know, I've always really liked this kill because it's nothing really elaborate, but it's creative as hell. And shit, he doesn't even die right away. He dies later after Andy's mom and Detective Mike show up. So the thought of laying there and all that pain and agony, I think just piles on top of it more for me. And in today's abuse of CGI, they probably would have ruined this sequence by digitally folding up his body origami style. But here, it's all done practically in camera, and it's very simple but very visceral. And the sound design of the bone snapping still makes me cringe every time I hear it. And I think in the grand scope of the franchise, it's a very underrated kill, and one that has always kind of stuck out for me.
Snap, crackle, Rice Krispies.
Number 7. I think this kill is the perfect example of how to keep things simple, but fun and effective. Now, this kill comes shortly after Chucky makes his big reveal, although the moment is sort of undercut because we see him make a kill right before this, but whatever. It's the big reveal showing that this is not a brand new Chucky, but theoretically the same one from the previous films, as he pulls off all his makeup, hiding his stitching and scars. And like usual, I think what really makes this kill stand out for me is Brad's performance.
You have your mother's eyes, and they were always too
Fucking close together!
His ability to lull you in with his soft-spokenness right before raging out is just pure genius level acting. But the kill itself is nothing really flashy. He just stabs this bitch's eye straight out of her head. And for me, I guess the capper and where the bonus points out of this kill come from is the way the eye just bounces down the steps like a little bouncy ball and rests right in front of Nika. It's gross, but it's campy fun. Number 6. You can chalk this one up into the category of glad to see them get their comeuppance, because this douchebag deserves every bit of it. The victim here is Shane, the boyfriend of Andy's mom, Karen. At first you think he's a decent guy, but he turns out to be a real prick to Andy, and he also has no serious intentions with Karen as we see him going back home to his wife and kids. But as he's busy playing Clark Griswold and getting in that Christmas spirit, Chucky arrives with some Yuletide cheer of his own, knocking him off the ladder, snapping his legs, and then letting his ass get chewed up by a rototiller after getting tangled up in Christmas lights. You know, it's a pretty creative and savage kill, and it probably would have ranked higher on my list if it wasn't for this goofy looking doll saying,
This is for Tupac.
out of context, that quote is just really stupid and makes no sense, but in context, it's still pretty stupid and makes zero to no sense. It's a reference back to a comment made earlier in the movie that he hears, and that's really all there is to it. There's no real significance except it's just meant to be silly. It's probably one of the few instances in the remake where I actually do miss Brad Dourif.
Holla if you hear me.
Number 5.
Sounds like it's getting pretty crowded in there.
I can hear him. I can still hear Chucky inside my head.
Now that we've gotten into the top 5 of this ranking, strap in for some cult love, starting with this kill. This poor son of a bitch who has been teetering between tolerable and kind of annoying throughout the film claims to be possessed by Charles Lee Ray. But when Nika shows up, who is actually possessed by Charles Lee Ray, calls him out for being a poser, he turns into a groveling mess. And that's when one of the numerous Chucky dolls takes a power drill to the back of his skull and bores straight through his eye socket. Again, much like a lot of the kills in the Child's Play franchise, it's nothing really elaborate or crazy, and in the grand scheme of horror, it's pretty simple, but it's executed in such a satisfying way, and the result is just savage and grisly and juicy. Plus, it's capped off by Fiona doing a spot-on impression of her father's famous Chucky laugh. Number 4. You know, this ranking is sort of like a celebration of Chucky and all his, crazy fun mayhem that I feel it's kind of appropriate to show Tiffany some love because it is nice to see her get in there and get her hands dirty. And probably her most iconic kill comes in Bride, and again, it couldn't have happened to two nicer people. After these two annoying swingers try to lure the two into a foursome, Tiffany sees that they are con artists just ripping these two kids off of their cash. So while Dude is getting busy dry humping his woman, Tiffany sneaks in and throws a champagne bottle, shattering the mirror above their bed, sending the shards of glass falling down like little guillotines, chopping them to shit. Now, if you remember in my review video, I commented on the shitty CGI in that scene, but in all honesty, it's not the worst CGI to come out of that movie, and the kill itself is pretty clever. I mean, it's a kill so good that they later reused it in Cult with a little better CGI and effects this time. But in this instance, I feel like the first time in Bride of Chucky is the better of the two. Plus, I love the aftermath when the bodies get discovered by the maid and the other two. I mean, it's just a gnarly, gnarly scene. Number 3.
This is for Nika.
This is a kill that we've seen abused a lot in horror movies lately, and in my recollection, I think Halloween has done it twice. But you know what? As long as it's done well, to me, there is nothing like a good old-fashioned head stomping. And I think what makes this kill particularly satisfying is who it's being done to and who is doing it. I mean, yes, it is Charles Lee Ray inhabiting the body of Nika, squashing Dr. Pervert's melon like a gusher, but in a way, I gotta believe Nika somewhere in there is getting satisfaction out of this kill as well. I mean, this slimy, disgusting prick has been taking advantage of her for God knows how long, that I gotta imagine that even though Chucky is at the controls, Nika is like, yeah, okay, I'll let you have that one. Plus, effects-wise, I think it looks pretty good, for the most part. I can't really tell if that's CGI blood or not, and the smushed-in face does kind of make me laugh, but But I don't know if there's a way you can do a smashed in face that's not going to make me laugh. I guess I'm just sick like that. But the kill doesn't sit here because of the effects. It sits here, I think, because of the circumstances and context surrounding the kill itself. Number 2. Out of all the kills in the franchise, I think this one unsettles me the most. Now this lady is a little extra off her rocker, because at one point she thinks the Chuckster is her dead son. That she smothered, by the way. So there is already this weird one-sided relationship thing going on. I mean, she even tried to breastfeed him for f***'s sake. Anyway, back to the kill itself. This woman basically allows Chucky to kill her, and there is this unnerving build-up to it as Chucky is kind of fingering her lips here. Then, all of a sudden, he's like elbow deep, like my fat ass diving into a Doritos bag. And then he rips something out, and I can't tell if it's her tongue, her tonsils, her uvula. I mean, whatever it is, it's f***ing gross, and the kill is arguably Chucky's most savage. And if that's not bad enough, to add insult to injury, Chucky rips off his own arm and stuffs it down this woman's throat, so when the orderlies find her, his arm and hand is just dangling out of her mouth. We've breezed through 9 kills of this ranking so far, meaning that there's only 1 kill left. So without further ado, let's go to the number 1 kill for yours truly in the Child's Play franchise. I really hate to cheat in this number 1 spot by making it a kill of Chucky himself, but when I kept going through my own personal list and whittling these lists down into, the top 15 and top 10, I kept coming back to this kill over and over again for number 1 simply because it's so much damn fun. Chucky literally gets the shit kicked out of him for the last act of this film, and he just keeps coming back like the f***ing Terminator. The absurdity of it all makes it a borderline cartoon, but it is absolutely glorious. It's like Wile E. Coyote constantly trying to get the Roadrunner after getting blown up by TNT. Chucky loses a hand, now he has a knife hand. Chucky gets ripped in half by a machine, now he comes crawling back like Eddie Murphy Trading Places style. Chucky gets hot plastic dumped on him, now he comes back looking like Quado before getting an air hose shoved down his throat and exploded like a bloody zit.
You're terminated, fucker.
It is crazy, it is colorful, it is fun, and it's my number 1. Well, that wraps up this top 10 kills list of the Child's Play and Chucky franchises. A lot of you will probably think this is a pretty unimpressive list, but, I just steamrolled through this entire franchise recently, and these particularly are the ones that stuck out to me. So, what are your guys' top 10 kills of the Child's Play and Chucky franchises? Please post them below, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Adios. Now, GTFO!